Are you guilty of skipping backgrounds when drawing your manga? Your panels end up looking something like this or this. All characters and barely anything else. You know you have to learn it at some point because, hey, what kind of good manga doesn't have backgrounds, right? It's crucial for good storytelling. But every time you try to overcome this, you just keep thinking to yourself,
backgrounds are hard. I suck at this.
and you just feel discouraged and demotivated. If you can relate to this, then this video is for you. Keep watching because we'll break down beginner-friendly techniques to make drawing backgrounds easier and way more fun. We've worked with pro mangakas with over 50 years of industry experience. With our guidance, we've helped over 400 beginner mangakas go from zero experience to making their first one-shot manga in a matter of weeks. Some of our students were just like you, avoiding backgrounds like the plague. Just look at our student Takari. She was able to go from awkward blank spaces to full scenes that actually tell a story. And our student Steven, from lots of headshots and simple angles to creating a heartfelt manga full of depth and dynamic perspective. So stay with us because by the end of this video, you won't just understand how to draw backgrounds. You'll actually be excited to add them to your next manga. If you're a beginner mangaka and you've been struggling to create your own manga for years with still no finished manga to show, and you finally want to put your ideas on paper with the guidance of pro mangakas, then we invite you to book a free manga consultation call with us. Let's put you in the right direction to finally create your first manga. The link is in the description. You might be wondering, what's the first step that Takari and Steven made that helped them turn their blank panels into story-rich pages? It wasn't some advanced perspective technique. It was something very simple. It was this one habit that even pro mangakas swear by. Sketch your scenes loosely first. Sounds basic enough, right? I mean, you might already be doing this. But are you doing it the right way? Step 1. Think like a director. Before diving into details, grab your pencil and rough out the scene using simple shapes. Boxes, circles, lines. Mark where big objects should go. It's like setting up the stage before the actors, aka your characters, come in. Where's the couch, the bed, the coffee table? This part isn't about making your panel look pretty. It's about placement, flow, and answering a crucial question in your visual storytelling. Where is your character? Show it to your readers. Step 2. Think in layers. Every great panel has depth. What's closest to the reader? What's happening in the action zone? And what fades into the distance? Having these layers makes your world feel real. Otherwise, your character might end up just floating in a blank space. Step 3. Zoom out and adjust. Once you have your shapes and layers down, take a step back and check the whole scene. Ask yourself,
Does this scene feel alive? Is it telling the story I want it to? Will my readers understand this without me having to explain anything?
if not, then move things around. It's way easier to fix things now than later. Even our pro mangaka mentors don't jump into drawing in full detail right away. They warm up with rough sketches and thumbnails first. If they don't like the scene, they go back and redraw again and again until they're satisfied. So don't feel bad if you don't get it right on your first try. It's a natural process. Just give it another shot. Once your layout is solid, then you can go crazy with the fun stuff. Cool props or little details that give your world character. Sketching loosely might sound basic, but it's a total game changer. It's the foundation for creating great manga. Okay, so now your scene is sketched out. Shapes are placed, layers are blocked, and you're feeling good. But here's one important thing you need to understand. Not everything in your scene is created equal. Not everything should get the same level of detail. What do I mean? Let's take a look at this panel from Attack on Titan and break down the different layers. Foreground, midground, and background. We see Eren with his arm out in the front. He's the foreground. Next, we see the layers of clouds right behind him. That's the midground. And finally, we see the sky in the distance. That's the background. Same scene, 3 layers, but each serving a different purpose. Let's break them down. The foreground is your entry point. It's what's closest to the reader, like a hand, weapon, or anything that overlaps the character. In this manga by our student Steven, a mouse is in a dark alley on a rainy day. It notices these bubbles and starts chasing them. The foreground are the bubbles. They make the scene feel fun and kind of whimsical. The bubbles look even more 3D because of how they overlap the panel borders. Everything else has shading, so the whiteness of the bubbles makes them really stand out. The midground is the stage. This is where the action happens. Your character is talking, fighting, walking. It connects the foreground and background, making the space feel complete. In Steven's story, Mouse, his MC, is part of the midground along with the brick walls and bubbles that are slightly farther away. You can see him adorably chasing after the bubbles. And lastly, the background. It gives off the vibe. It's the farthest part of the scene, like the sky, buildings, mountains, and other scenery. It conveys the setting, but it should be light with less detail. Just enough to give context without stealing attention from the action. In this scene, the area behind the brick walls make up the background. When you separate your scenes into these 3 layers, your manga instantly looks more professional. Now it has more depth. Your pages feel alive. But here's something a lot of beginners miss. They focus so much on adding backgrounds, they forget to use one of the most powerful tools in manga, the foreground. Yep, the thing that's right in front of the camera is often missing. And just by using it right, your scenes will pop. Things will start jumping off the page. Let me share 3 simple tips to do that. First, add overlapping elements. Put something in front of your character, like a stop sign, a tree, or even just a hand. When readers see an object overlapping the midground, their brain automatically understands. This thing is closer. Here's a great example from our student AIM. In this panel, the silhouette of the audience is placed in the foreground. If you removed it, the scene would still make sense. But with it, the panel pops. You feel like you're in the crowd watching the match about to unfold. Number 2, use white outlines. Let's look at this panel from Berserk. There's a lot going on. The village is on fire, there are dead bodies everywhere, there's heavy shading and tons of detail fighting for your attention. But your eye goes straight to this character, Puck. Why? Because he's flying in the foreground and he's outlined in white. That white outline cuts through the clutter and makes his silhouette crystal clear. It's a simple technique, but incredibly effective. In busy scenes, white outlines help separate your main subject, whether it's a character or object, from everything else. Try it in your own manga, especially when your background is rich in detail or dark in tone. And finally, number 3, bigger shapes and bolder lines. Anything closer to the viewers should feel closer, so draw it bigger, sharper, with thicker lines. Take this panel from One Punch Man. The punch flying towards us is drawn with thick, bold lines and motion effects, instantly pulling your eye. But look at the character's face in the background. It's smaller, lighter, and has finer lines. The contrast creates depth. Here's a warning though. Not all things in the foreground need to stand out. What do I mean? Let's look at another manga from our student AIM. He used a yonkoma format to show the pain of separation. Look at the 3rd panel. In the foreground, the girl's hand reaches out towards the person leaving on the train. He used bolder line work to make the hand stand out, and it makes the scene much more dramatic. But do you notice something else in the foreground? I'll give you a moment to analyze this. It's actually this lady on the left. She stands out because of the sharper contrast against the midground. But here's the problem. She's stealing attention away from the main focus, the reaching hand. She's not a key character, so there's no real reason to emphasize her presence. She's just there to add depth. So, remember this. Just because something is closer to the camera doesn't necessarily mean it always has to pop. If it's not a focal point of the story, then don't put the spotlight on it. If you're tired of being stuck, feeling like you're in a never-ending loop of trying to create your own manga, and after years, you still have nothing to show, then book a free manga consultation call with us. It's time to stop procrastinating and finally start doing. Let's map out the exact steps you need to create your first manga. The link to book a call is in the description. In the meantime, you can check out this video to learn more about drawing manga backgrounds.